Today is the day your life begins to change. This is not just a lesson about words or books. This is a story about a man named Leo and a new way to find your voice. Many people study English for many years. They learn thousands of rules. They memorize long lists of words. But when they try to speak, they freeze. Their heart beats fast. They feel like a small child. If you feel this way, please listen to me. It is not your fault. You do not need more grammar. You need a new system. You need a way to move English from your head to your heart. Let me tell you about Leo. Leo was a kind man who lived in a small city. He lived with his father, Silas. Silas was old and very weak. Leo wanted to give his father a better life. He wanted to work for a big company and travel the world. But Leo had a secret fear. He was terrified to speak English. In his mind, he was a king, but when he opened his mouth, he felt like a prisoner. He was afraid that people would look at him and think he was not smart. He was afraid of making a tiny mistake. One day, he met a man named Julian. Julian was a great speaker. He didn't use big words, but he spoke with power. Leo asked him, "How can I be like you?" Julian smiled and said, "Leo, fluency is not a talent. It is a result of how you train your mouth and your mind every single day." Julian gave Leo a plan for 21 days. He told Leo that the first step is the most important. You must talk to yourself. Most people never become fluent because they are waiting for a partner. They wait for a teacher. They wait for a perfect moment. But Julian told Leo, if you cannot talk to yourself, you will never talk to the world. So, Leo began his first 3 days by training his mouth. He stopped looking at books. Every morning, he stood in front of his mirror. He looked at himself and said, "Good morning, Leo. Today you are going to speak. You are improving. You are strong." He did this for 2 minutes. He didn't care if he looked silly. He was training his mouth muscles. Leo also started to narrate his life like a movie. While he made coffee for Silas, he said out loud, "I am holding the spoon. I am pouring the water. The coffee smells good." When he walked to his job, he said, "I am walking fast. I see the green trees. I see a tall building." This is a secret called self-talk. It removes the fear of judgment because nobody is listening. Leo was not just learning English anymore. He was living in it. His tongue and lips started to feel relaxed. To have more momentum while he spoke, Leo employed a unique technique that Julian shared with him. Leo placed a clean writing pencil in between his teeth and smiled before trying to articulate words with his mouth closed. Leo started saying, "My voice is my power. I will be the best speaker." It wasn't long before he was laughing at how ridiculous he sounded. However, putting the pencil in Leo's mouth caused his jaw to drop lower while speaking. Leo was able to communicate much more effectively when his tongue worked harder during this activity. After 2 minutes of speaking, Leo took the pencil out and returned to his regular speaking patterns. Leo immediately felt as if his English was lighter, quicker, and flowed freely. He felt like an athlete who had just finished a hard workout. He was building muscle memory. In the second week, Leo learned about clusters. Julian told him that if you learn words one by one, you will speak like a broken computer. You will go, I want to ask you a question. That is not how humans talk. Humans talk in groups of words. Leo stopped memorizing single words and started learning phrases like, I was wondering if, it makes sense, and I'll get back to you. He repeated these clusters 20 times each. He said them when he was happy. He said them when he was serious. Soon, these phrases became automatic. He didn't have to build sentences anymore. He learned how to use the simple present, past, and future tenses effectively. He also stopped seeking out obscure vocabulary and concentrated instead on clear communication. He often repeated, to be fluent in any language is to communicate clearly and straightforwardly, and as a result was able to save himself a lot of valuable time. He felt grateful that he was no longer held back by the demands of having to define obscure vocabulary as part of achieving fluency. He focused on the most important verbs like get, have, do, and make. He mastered the simple present, the past, and the future. He stopped chasing rare words and focused on being clear. He told himself, fluency is about clarity, not complexity. This saved him so much time. He felt a giant weight lift off his shoulders. During the third week, Leo began the ear-mouth loop. He would listen to a short audio of a person talking. He didn't just listen like it was music. He listened with focus. He would hear a sentence, pause it, and then repeat it exactly like the speaker. He copied the speed. He copied the emotion. If the speaker sounded excited, Leo sounded excited. This is called shadowing. It is what actors do to learn a new voice. Leo was no longer a student, he was a performer. He was absorbing the rhythm of the language. Every night before bed, Leo practiced the nightly recap. He sat in his quiet room and told Silas about his day in English. Today I was very productive, Father. My work was completed sooner than expected. I also had pride in myself. He had asked himself several questions about his day. What did I learn today? What did I enjoy today? Because he had answered these questions close to bedtime resulted in the English language being stored in his subconscious mind every night until he woke up sleeping in English. Leo's mind was now conditioned to remain in English at all times. Eventually, Leo had the opportunity to converse with others in a real setting. He attended an English-speaking community meeting. Initially, Leo experienced a relapse of the anxiousness that had plagued him before he had begun speaking English. He felt like hiding. But he remembered Julian's final lesson: fake confidence until it becomes real. Leo stood up straight. He lifted his chin. He put a smile on his face. He told himself, I am the main character of my story. I am here to express my ideas, not to impress people. He used the 2-second rule. When someone asked him a question, he replied within 2 seconds. He didn't pause to think about grammar, he just spoke. He made a few mistakes, but he didn't stop. He realized that mistakes are just teachers. By the end of the 21 days, Leo was a new man. He found a great job and was able to take care of Silas. He wasn't afraid anymore. He looked back and realized that the wall he thought was so big was actually very small. He just had to take the first step. You are like Leo. You have a voice, and that voice matters. Don't wait for perfection. Perfection is a cage. Just start speaking. Talk to yourself in the mirror today. Narrate your walk. Use the pencil trick. Speak your truth every night. You are not just learning a language, you are building a new version of yourself. Be brave. Be bold. The world is waiting to hear you, the new chapter of your life. Leo's story did not end with his new job. It was actually the beginning of a completely different life. He realized that the greatest barrier he ever faced was not the English language itself, but the fear of being judged. Once he let go of the need to be perfect, his world opened up like a flower in the sun. He started to have conversations with people from different countries. He shared stories about his father, Silas, and he listened to stories about lives far away from his own. He discovered that English was a bridge, a way to connect his heart to the rest of humanity. You must realize that you are currently standing where Leo once stood. You might feel that your English is a problem to be solved, but it is actually a gift to be opened. Every time you struggle to find a word, you are not failing, you are searching. Every time you make a grammar mistake, you are not wrong, you are practicing. The goal of language is not to be a walking dictionary. The goal is to be a human being who can share a thought, an emotion, or a dream. The power of the smallest steps. Most people fail because they think they need to do everything at once. They want to be fluent by tomorrow morning. But true power comes from the small, quiet things you do when no one is watching. It is the 2 minutes you spend with a pencil between your teeth. It is the 5 minutes you spend talking to your reflection in the mirror before you go to work. It is the moment you choose to think, "I am thirsty," instead of translating it from your native tongue. These small moments are like drops of water falling on a stone. One drop does nothing, but 1,000 drops can change the shape of the mountain. Your fluency is built in these tiny, brave moments. When you decide to speak even though your heart is beating fast, you are winning. When you decide to describe your walk to the park out loud, you are building the muscles of a champion. Breaking the silence forever. There is a version of you that is already fluent. That person is inside you right now, waiting for permission to come out. This version of you doesn't worry about the past perfect or prepositions. This version of you speaks with energy and light. To find this person, you must stop being so hard on yourself. You must treat yourself with the same kindness you would give to a friend. If a friend came to you and tried to speak your language, would you laugh at them for a small mistake? No. You would be happy that they are trying. You would be impressed by their courage. Why do you not give that same kindness to yourself? From today, be your own best friend.